Hello and welcome back to the Now We Know Show, the show where we discuss a topic of interest and by the end we will have learned something new and hopefully you will too. I'm Zach.
I'm Buzz.
I'm June.
And in this week's episode, we're going on a trip into the amazing world of Indiana June's World of Adventures.
If you enjoy the Now We Know Show podcast, why not support Zach Wylde Productions on our Patreon page? Become an official ZWP patron for as little as £1 a month for exclusive early access to all our latest episodes, videos, behind the scenes, updates and more. So that's right, you guessed it, the Indiana June's World of Adventures podcast has been officially integrated into the Now We Know Show.
That's right, and June, welcome back to the studio.
Lovely to be here.
Yes, you're going to now be a regular visitor to the studio, to the Dungeon Studio, and tell us all about your adventures.
Ooh,
And this week, we are going on a trip down under.
to New Zealand
That's right, we're going to
Wow.
talk about when you went to New Zealand.
in the early 2000s.
But before we get into that, it's time for, you guessed it, Word of the Week.
Word of the week.
Word of the week.
Word of the week. Word of the week. Word of the week. We'll get it right one day.
Anyway,
Word of the week.
Word of the week.
You can join in as well, Jude.
Word of the week.
There you go.
Okay, so word of the week is all about old English words we don't use anymore. All you have to do is write down what you think it means in the comments. We will then reveal what it means at the end of the episode so you can find out if you got it right.
You might know this, June. Who
Oh
knows?
dear. What is
Okie
it?
dokie. So the word of the week this week is humdurgeon.
Humdurgeon.
Spelt Humdurgeon. Humdurgeon.
Humdurgeon. Any ideas, June?
Sounds very peculiar.
Find out at the end of the episode.
Okay. I'm already thinking, what can humdurgeon be? We shall see. Anyway, here we go. We're back into the amazing world of Indiana June and her
Wonderful adventures.
wonderful trips and adventures around the globe. What have we covered already in the past?
Okay, so we did a brief introduction episode.
Yep.
And we did a trip to Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Right. So now we
Now
are.
Croatia.
Yes.
That's it. Now Croatia. But as we've
This
already
episode,
as we've already said, we're off down under to the land of the Kiwis.
New Zealand.
Yay! So June, let's go through this right from the top. What, first of all, made you think that on your adventures you fancied taking that long old trip to New Zealand? That's a long way to go.
It's definitely a long way to go, but the local paper had an advertisement. Go to New Zealand. I thought, perhaps I will.
That sounds good.
Okay, so it was a random choice. It
It
literally you just saw an
Yes, I saw
advertisement.
it in the local paper, and I thought, can I afford this? I think, yes, they had special terms where you could actually have another person with you and
Oh,
share.
wow, okay.
I don't do it
So-
anymore.
Let me just put that clearly for the listeners. So on this occasion, you could go on a trip, but share with a stranger.
Yes.
Would that have any particular discount to it?
Well,
Or-
yes, it would save an awful lot of money.
So
Yeah.
what? It split the cost of the trip.
Possibly. Well, you didn't have to pay single person.
Right, but it did mean that when you are on your trip, you're sharing a
With-
room,
with somebody
a
you-
room with somebody you've never met before.
You didn't know who you were sharing with till you got out of the aeroplane.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, but I
That
take
makes
it they
And
were
strangely enough, this other lady's name was June.
Oh,
so two Junes
There was two
Doppelganger.
Junes.
in the same room.
Yes.
I take it that they did specify that you didn't have to share with a man.
Well, I presume they thought that was a good idea.
Okay,
Not.
just wondering.
No.
Otherwise, it's some strange holiday where you,
Well,
you
it-
hook
it
up
made-
with somebody you've
would
never
have-
met before.
Would have made it interesting, but no.
oh dear.
Okay, so you saw this advert, and how much out of interest? Because let's put it into time parameter. You went in the early 2000s.
Yes.
So I remember you saying it was after they've finished filming the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That's right.
Okay, so we'll probably
Gotta
come
love
back.
Lord of the Rings.
We'll come back to that, seeing as that New Zealand is the
The land of Lord of the Rings.
land of Lord of the
Yes.
Rings,
Middle-earth.
Middle Earth as it is.
Yeah.
So what? So back then, what sort of price were we talking about?
I think it was Just over £1,000 then.
What, for the whole trip?
For the whole trip, 22 days. I think
20,
it was.
22 days
Yeah.
in New Zealand.
Yeah.
This includes the flight, yeah?
Yes, hotels,
Hotels.
Food?
breakfast.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
was it half board or full board?
Breakfast. Well, some days you didn't get lunch. You bought it while you were out. Other days there was a designated place to have lunch, and then you have your dinner at night.
So apart from your spending money,
then spending money,
the whole trip basically cost you
well,
around
just-
about £1,000.
Yes,
Okay.
give or take some.
Oh, that's really interesting because now I do know someone who is looking to go to New Zealand and they
Yeah.
are thinking about paying about seven.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yes.
June, have you looked into the
7,000.
prices?
I have looked into the prices,
And that's
and-
quite the investment now.
and they don't do sharing
Right, so
anymore.
if you wanted to go, you couldn't share. And sort of how much are we looking at if you needed to go or you wanted to go?
Without spending money, roughly getting on for about 7,000.
Yeah, so what you just said, Zach.
Oh, okay.
So I've saved.
Wow, that's a big increase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you'd need to
but they've
put your
lots of different things on the thing.
on the
Yes,
itinerary. you mean?
when we flew straight to Wellington, now they go to Singapore.
Right, so
and
you got an actual direct flight to Wellington Airport,
Yes.
yeah? And is that in the North Island?
Yes,
Okay,
we
and
start on the north and then ended up on the south.
right, so but these days you'd have to go to Singapore.
Well, one presumes so. Yes.
Okay, so
If you could afford 7,000.
How was the flight?
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, that's a long way to go.
Yes,
in
but previously I've been to China, which took over 10 hours. You sort of either
Okay.
sleep or read or watch a
So
film.
you're well versed.
Well, I think
air
that's
travel.
Yes.
that's the whole point of Indiana June is is very well versed in her travels around the
Yes.
world. So for you to take on a trip, this must have been obviously your longest trip that you did, and especially if it's just one singular flight.
Yeah.
So if you're contemplating that kind of amount of time on a plane, what was that like? I mean, could you move around? Could you stretch your legs?
You
Did
can
they
get-
look after you well? Was the food
Yes, the
good?
food was very good. You can get up and go to the toilet or walk up, pardon me, to the corridors in the aeroplane
Okay,
or
so
whatever,
you could move
or
around.
go to sleep. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, was it like the trip from hell, or did you just
No,
literally you're just
you know,
counting the hours away as you fly?
You can go to sleep or whatever. Well, it's the only way to get there unless you're going by sea for about 6
Or
months
unless
or more.
somebody creates some kind of teleportation device,
Yes,
that would be quite
yes,
fun.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
that would be fun.
Or
No.
back in the 70s, they had a jaunt belt. If you ever watched the Tomorrow People,
I
they
haven't seen that.
They used to jaunt off to desert islands and things with their jaunt
So
belts.
how did the trip make you feel?
Tired.
Tired. Okay, it was quite wearing.
Because I mean, you're
Yes,
flying
you
through
go
so many
the time
zones,
and
yeah.
whatever. Yes. So you sort of
Bit
get
of a mind boggle.
Yes,
Yes.
it is a mind boggle,
So,
but it's the only thing to do, and you sort of get used to it.
So did you meet your alter ego June? Did you meet them
at the airport? Yes.
Oh
And
right.
Did you actually get sat on the plane next to each other?
Not that I no I
So
didn't.
in that case, you
No.
can't sort of get acquainted with
No, no.
your roomie.
When you get off the plane and get through all the things that you have to do,
The
and with
security
your
checks, yeah.
security checks and collect your thing, you meet the guide with you, and then now this Mrs. Holland will introduce you to your roommate, and this is June, whatever her name was, I can't remember, but. No, that's the first time you set eyes on your friend, and hopefully
And you've got to spend all that time together.
you've got to spend nearly a
20
month.
Nearly a month. So, out of interest, without going any further on in this particular conversation, was it an okay room guest to have?
Yeah, we were.
She was a
Yes, I've only ever had one that was a bit strange, and that was going up the Yangtze.
up the Yangtze.
Oh, maybe that's a subject
come
for
back-
another
That's another
podcast.
Well, we'll come back to that when we go over your trips to China, which you've done several.
4.
4 trips to China.
Wow.
Yes.
Because you went to Dublin. Just going off to sidetracking slightly. You've been to China while you could still go up the Yangtze
Yes.
River, but they've dammed it since then, haven't
Yes.
they? So that will be an
Wow,
interesting one.
Interesting.
Well, it floods a lot, and lots of people get drowned, so that's why I'll tell you all about that at another time.
Fair enough. That's a little
So-
teaser.
You've flown off to
To Wellington.
Wellington, and that is in the North Island.
That's right.
Okay, because New Zealand is basically
Two
divided up
islands,
into
a
the
bit-
North Island and
Which is the
South
biggest
Island.
one, and the south is a smaller one.
So you arrived there, and then what? Coach trip to your hotel?
Well, you had to go to your hotel and sort of settle in, have a meal, and try and reorientate
So
yourself.
over these 22 days, are you looking at doing coach trips on
Oh yes,
every
you've got
day?
the coach. You go somewhere every day.
Every day there's...
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
it's kind of like
can't-
a pre-planned thing.
Oh yes, I can't remember exactly what day we did which, but we covered an awful lot of.
Okay, so again, if it's not in the correct order because it's a few years ago, but
And I'm
tell us
getting
about
ancient.
tell us about your trips on the North Island. What did you do in the North Island first of all?
We went to see the Maori people singing and dancing at the, I think it was at the Treaty House in Waitangi. I'm sure that's it.
Waitangi.
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, quite tropical, really, I think. And they were all dancing on the stage and singing, and then we had a meal out. Nowadays, they do the underground cooking. And
So like a pit oven.
Yes.
If we're doing bushcraft, we'd normally dig a pit out, already heat hot stones,
Yes.
put those into the pit. Usually you'd layer it with leaves because obviously...
Yeah.
was it dug into sand?
no, no, we didn't get it. We
Oh,
got,
right. Okay, but these days...
we got more of a lunch, but now
You'd wrap the meat up in
Yes.
leaves, put it in there, cover it in
Yeah.
sand and let it cook underground.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yes.
what would they cook?
pigs. I think.
Pigs?
A bit of pork,
Bit of
not
pork,
bad.
Meat.
Yeah.
Meat.
I think this.
I mean, New
yeah.
Zealand is very well known for its lamb. So
Oh yeah, it could
That
have
is
been
true.
anything.
That is
But I
true.
mean, I say now the price has increased by about another 6,000.
Yeah.
They've.
it's going to be a very expensive pig.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
very expensive pig, but then things weren't so advanced. So but we had very nice food there.
Okay.
And
Was this an indoor staged area, outdoor
we
staged?
we were sitting outside and they were all
Right,
on the
because
stage.
you mentioned it was tropical. So.
Yeah, it was quite nice weather.
Okay.
How were they dressed?
In national, the long skirts made
the-
out of the leaves or whatever.
The
you
sort
know,
of rush skirts.
yes,
Yeah, that type of
all
thing.
the
Did
different
they
things.
do the haka or anything like that?
No, I think some of the men did just to probably start to welcome us, and then the ladies have got. I think they're called poas or something, like little balls on strings, and they dance, waving them about, singing.
Poi.
Poi, that's
Poi.
it.
There you
You
go.
got
There
it
we
right.
go. Poi.
Yes, yes. It was a very nice day we had there.
Fantastic.
Saw that, and we also, I think it was the same day. There's a refuge for kiwis.
Oh, yes.
Kiwis.
Yeah.
That's a bird, isn't it?
That's the
That's the
national
national
bird.
bird. It's depicted like quite a fluffy, small,
It's a
round bird with
small
a
one.
very long beak.
Yeah.
But they mostly come out in the evening. So when you went in, it was very twilighty light, and you had to peer about. But we did see some.
Do you have to be really quiet?
Oh, well, you don't go in there shouting, yes. No, because they're quite shy birds.
So what was this refuge? Was it imagining sort of a kind of zoo area or something outside?
Well, it was all they got, and it was inside because they have to keep it twilighty.
Right, okay.
Okay.
They got bushes and things growing in there because they hide a lot.
So you actually got to see some
So
actual
I actually
kiwi.
did see kiwis, yes.
Because there was another, because I think New Zealand, wasn't it famous for having probably the largest land bird, a bit like an ostrich.
Oh, was that the moa?
Moa, that's it.
Yes.
Which
Yes, it was
they found
huge.
they found bones because it's not long been extinct because the unfortunately obviously it became extinct much like the dodo because everybody ended up eating it. But yeah, the moa, it was probably
Yeah,
the largest.
it was very big.
It was the largest land bird, I believe. Shame that, because you kind of feel when it comes to those pieces of history where you think the bones are there, and it was literally like the Tasmanian
Devil.
not the Tasmanian devil, no,
Because
the
that's still
tiger.
alive.
It's the Tasmanian
Yes.
tiger, isn't it?
The last
Which
one was
type
about
of like a dog.
Yeah.
With stripes.
1930s, I think the last one
Died in a
was
zoo.
Yes,
They still actually do keep an eye out in case they spot them again.
yeah.
Because just on the off chance.
Well, that said, I'm sure they're kind of trying to genetically modify things
Well,
nowadays.
they keep
keep threatening dinosaurs.
Well, they keep threatening mammoths, to be
Oh,
honest. Because,
really?
Well, the thing is, I know we're going off our trip a little bit, but let's cover this anyway. I think the way it works with the genetics, if you've got the genetics for a mammoth, if you can put the genetics into an embryo, and then, for example, then go via an elephant to have the
Where's
baby
this going?
mammoth.
Yeah.
Part of its genetics will be obviously elephant, but then you breed again and again.
Yeah, it's
until
like a gradual process.
You breed out the elephant and,
Yeah, it's the adaptation of the characteristics, isn't it?
and end up with hopefully a near pure mammoth. But anyway, there we go. Maybe they'll do that with a mower. We can have big birds wandering around.
That'd be fun.
Be like Sesame Street.
Wonder if
live.
you could ride them.
I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Anyway, so
You need
we
a
went.
ladder to get on it.
Well, yeah, then.
So we went to see, or should I say, you went to see the Kiwis, and then on the North Island, what other things did we get up to?
Well, there was also the caves, where Wyatoma Caves.
The Wyatoma Caves.
Yes.
What's exciting in?
Well, in there's some little, they're the New Zealand form of glowworms.
Glowworms?
Yes.
So
Wow, I've never seen any glowworms.
So do glowworms actually glow?
Well,
That'd be
the
really
ones
cool.
in England are like beetles, and they sort of rev up and fly around, looking for a mate. But these, we had to...
You mean like fireflies?
Yes,
Right,
similar to that.
so they're
but
like
these, when you went into the caves, you had to climb down some stairs to get there, and I think they've modernised that a bit more now. I've read the new brochure, but it was like fairyland.
What, in the caves?
In the caves, yes.
Wow, I'm just
Yeah,
picturing.
describe it to us and the listeners.
You know the little tiny fairy lights you can get at Christmas?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they were hanging from the ceiling on little strings.
What, threads?
Like threads,
Right.
they spin them like spiders' webs,
Silk.
I suppose. Yes.
I'm imagining Pandora from Avatar.
Oh, yes, yes.
They were all hanging from the ceiling like little. We've never seen anything like it before.
Must have been really magical.
It really was.
I mean, do they use the glowworms for anything?
I've
I mean,
no-
you hear of silkworms, obviously. That's where we
I've
get
seen
silk
silk.
from.
I've
so-
seen silkworms and I've seen them unravelling. But I don't know.
Right, so just a fantastic. What's the word when something glows in the dark?
Phosphorus? I don't-
Phosphorescent.
Luminescent.
Luminescent.
Bioluminescent.
Yes.
Bioluminescence.
Yes.
There we are.
exactly.
Well, that
Bioluminescence.
was a thrilling.
That's quite amazing when you think of a creature,
Yeah,
because you get a lot of plankton and things that are bioluminescent.
Yeah, things that are very deep under the
Yeah,
water.
and then they come to the surface. You get these big blooms, but yeah, that's quite.
Oh wow, there's a picture on the brochure.
Yes.
Yes. Wow, that is just like the stars, isn't
Well,
it?
that literally looks like Avatar.
Yes.
Yeah, with all these things floating.
Yes.
Wow, that is magical. That would be worth anybody visiting the North Island to go and see. What were the name of these caves
The
again?
Wyatoma.
Wyatoma glowworm caves.
Yeah. Then I think we went on to Rotorua.
Rotorua.
Sounds fun.
Yes, that's where all the geysers or geysers, whichever you
Oh,
like.
so there
they're
we
the
go.
thermal vents.
Thermal
So we're
vents.
going volcanic now.
And the mud and everything is going.
Did you actually get to witness some of these going off?
Oh yes, we did that.
Yeah, most of the time you think about those, and my mind always goes to, is it the one at Yellowstone? Is it Yellowstone National Park? There's got the
Old Faithful.
Old Faithful, that's it. So they've got their own on the North Island.
Oh yes, quite a lot of.
Do you have
fun.
anything like when you go to Iceland and you have the thermal baths? Do they have that kind of thing there as well? Because I know you've been to Iceland.
Oh
and
yes,
you've been in the
I've
thermal.
swimming.
You've been swimming in a thermal
So
bath.
these thermal vents, how close could you actually get?
Reasonably.
Were you like sprayed by them?
No, well, you had
It's
to
on me! I'm burning!
No, you have to be quite careful. I
Oh,
think.
I was thinking it's water.
No, these are like
Oh, these are volcanic.
Yes,
volcanic. and
they're
they
Okay,
erupt.
okay,
They
okay.
erupt in big-
And the
that's
smell
clarified.
is
the sulphur smell with
is
like
rotten eggs.
with boiling 100 degrees.
Okay,
Well,
maybe you don't want to get sprayed by
Steam
them.
The guide would
That's
tell
why,
you.
that's what I'm saying. It's on me. Ah.
The
Right, that
guide
makes
would tell you not to get too close to that one because it's due to go off or something. Like.
Was that quite spectacular?
It was, and I'd never seen things like that before. But after we left and we were going, we stayed in a little village,
Okay.
which was, I presume, purposely built, and they were just like little chalets, for the
So
two of us.
instead of going back to a hotel,
Back to the hotel, we went into these little things. We had a little meal somewhere, and then we went back, and June insisted on having the window open because she couldn't sleep without it.
Okay.
Really?
Yes,
Why?
because she always had the bedroom window open.
Right, okay.
And the guy,
Fair enough.
the guide hadn't said anything to us till the next morning because we've been coughing and smoking, all night long. I couldn't
Breathe.
No.
Oh,
dear.
I
Hang on,
hope
I think I
everybody remembered to keep the windows shut.
Was that the guide, was it?
Yes.
Ew.
Oh,
And she didn't tell us the night before
And this was because...
because of the fumes.
Oh, the fumes off them.
Oh no.
Yes.
Did
but
it give you volcanic powers, perchance?
No, it didn't. It
Oh,
just gave me a coughing. So, no, we only stayed the one night, thank goodness, there. But it was an experience not to be shared again.
Did June learn her lesson?
Yes, she
not
did.
to keep the window open.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure she can put it into practice unless she's gone back.
No, but that was the thing. What else did we do? Well, of course, we were going along in the coach and looking at all the scenery, which is absolutely spectacular.
Something out of Lord of the Rings, perchance?
If you've seen The Lord of the Rings, you can imagine.
So obviously you had by that time seen The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
So you were obviously...
Oh, wow. So you have actually seen Lord of the Rings prior to actually...
Yes.
Wow, that must have been really cool.
Yeah, they've now got the village there.
Hobbiton.
I
But
believe
we didn't go there.
I believe originally they built Hobbiton. People could visit it,
Yeah.
but they didn't build the set to be permanent. So it actually ended up having to be completely ripped to pieces.
Yeah, and then
Bec-
rebuilt.
because it became so popular as a tourist attraction, they rebuilt the whole thing
Yeah.
so it can permanently be
Yeah,
there.
yeah, very
Yeah.
true, very true.
So I didn't get the opportunity to go there.
I have actually met someone who's actually been there, and they say it's like absolutely crazy. It's awesome.
Your cousin Shelley has been out there twice. They
Oh,
hired
nice.
hired a camper van and took the children out there. They've been out there twice touring round. So yes,
They've actually got a piece of the tree above Bilbo's house.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
really cool.
So we couldn't go there anyway, because they hadn't actually built it. There's what I've seen the Maori people. We did go on a boat trip up Milford Sound
Okay.
and saw the Southern Alps and all sorts of other things. Of course, Mount Cook is the highest there. It's 3,765 metres high. That's the
Mount
highest
Cook.
one. Yes,
Wow.
that's Mount Cook.
Did you climb up that?
No, we didn't. We just had a look at it.
Oh, yeah.
So where did you see that from?
From the coach, we got
Right.
out and had a look. We couldn't
Did
climb
it,
up there.
was it snow-capped?
Yes, I think it was.
Was it touching the clouds? How high was it? What one? You've told me how high
High
it
it
was, but was it like
Visually.
super high?
Well, it looks super high.
Okay.
You know, it all depends how the clouds come down. Like if anywhere you go, you know, even
I'm
Scotland and
literally
whatever.
imagining Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings right now.
Yes, yes. So that was it. Yes, the scenery was absolutely wonderful. Especially, I think, we were still, I think, on the North Island. You know, when the dwarves are going along through the mountains and all the giants and things.
Yes.
Yes, they were across the sort of valley. And
Oh,
you
it
could
looked
see.
like that.
Yes, it was absolutely spectacular.
Oh, brilliant.
to
So you
see.
definitely recommend this journey.
Yes, it was. Well, this price.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so pleased
you,
I went
You
when I
managed to
went.
bag it right at the right time.
I certainly did, and we saw a lot of scenery stopping at different places and whatever.
Well, I'm going to just chuck in with my bit here, just to answer your questions, Zach. You've been to the top of Ben Nevis.
Yes,
Yeah?
I
We took you up Ben Nevis when you were 9. And in comparison, we're talking metres here, and you said that Mount Cook is 3,765 metres. Ben Nevis, seems that you can put this into perspective, is 1,345 metres.
So it's a third
Right.
short.
So,
Okay. So that'll be fun to climb.
Yeah.
I'd like to do it.
and you're a bit older now, so you'll be able to do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we
Oh,
took,
what?
took him up Ben Nevis, and he almost got to the top, and he was like, "Oh, Dad, my legs." And I said, "I'll tell you what, if we get to the top, we'll take you down to the toy shop in Fort William."
Oh.
And you went, "You had your eye on a Doctor Who figure, didn't you?"
Yeah,
Probably-
I've still got that.
You still got it, and it worked. You got up there, and bless you ran all the way back down again.
I did need a toilet.
I did. We all. I remember that lovely hot chocolate we had at the bottom
very nice.
while we waited about an hour for Mum to turn up.
Yeah, my legs just weren't working at that point.
Anyway, back to New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh, I actually did meet a gentleman walking round, and I said something about Lord of the Rings, and he said, "I've actually was an orc."
Oh, you met an
Oh,
orc.
Oh, yes, he
wow.
wasn't dressed up as anything, but so I believe him anyway. He said he was an orc.
He was an orc.
And of course, they got all the horses from both islands because they needed so many for the battle
I can
scenes.
imagine.
Do you remember watching the behind the scenes? And they needed so many. That's the great thing about the film Lord of the Rings. It's because so much live action in it.
Yeah.
The CGI in there, but so much live action. And I know that they had, as you say, June, all those horses, but they didn't have enough male riders.
Right.
So they had with the Rohirrim, they had loads of ladies
Yeah.
that were the Rohirrim, but they all had to wear beards.
Wow.
And I remember on the behind the scenes, one of the ladies took quite a fancy to Viggo Mortensen. I think they were getting on really well. But all the photographs are really funny because like they're there behind the scenes all the time
With beards.
and she's got this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely recommend the appendices on The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, go for it.
Oh, there's another fact.
Oh, give us a fact. We like
I'd
facts.
like to give you a fact, as this is that sort of programme. New Zealand was the first country to give women the vote in 1893.
Oh,
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
That's just a little factoid.
Little factoid for
Yes.
us, for our listeners.
Gotta love a little factoid.
See, that's what the Now We Know show is about, is learning things.
Yes.
So we're there. We've met an orc now.
Yes, we met an orc. We've seen all sorts of.
I kicked an orc once.
Did you?
Yes.
I
He
did.
got sprung upon in a toilet by an
Oh
orc.
my goodness me!
Okay,
Let's
to put this
into
into perspective, we went to watch the Lord of the Rings musical,
Oh,
in London.
which was fantastic.
Fantastic! It was amazing.
oh, is that the one you took me to?
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It really was
when
fantastic.
When Zach went off to the loo, there was an orc hiding in there.
Yeah, I had to kick it.
Oh dear.
But you survived.
I said sorry. I said sorry, but I just had to kick the orc.
Well, he did surprise you.
He did. Ah,
And it was a fantastic stage. It's a real shame that I don't think they're doing that stage show anymore.
no. You
No,
can get the audio, but
I
that's about
wish
it.
they'd bring out a
It
DVD or a
was
Blu-ray of that.
fantastic because everybody was climbing all around the edge of the stage.
Oh,
weren't
no,
they?
it was
Yeah,
strange.
trees and
And I'll never forget when the Balrog, literally this huge head just sort of
Erupted
from the
from the
stage
stage.
Yeah.
and blew all that hot air into the audience. It's like fantastic. Anyway, Lord of the Rings memories.
We gotta love Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings.
So anyway, we're back. We've seen mountains. We've seen orcs. We've seen
We did have a-
glowworms and geezers.
we have, and we went on a boat
Nearly
trip.
choked to death.
Yes, we went on a boat trip from Milford Sound,
Yep.
and I think we saw some. What do you call them? The things we saw in
Oh, dolphins.
dolphins. Yes,
Dolphins.
we did see some
Yes.
dolphins there. Yes, so that was very nice.
Is that a dolphin?
I don't know. It's kind of a weird laugh.
They made funny noises. But then, say, we drove round, saw lots of different places, and drove along the front.
Okay. But overall, the trip, I mean, was the,
It
I say, the hotels and the food that you were
Oh,
having
yes.
was good?
They were all very good, yes. And I say, we drove along, I think it was a 25-mile trip along the coast there, and they got huge boulders, like snowballs, but giant boulders.
Yeah.
I forget
What were they
call-
from?
I don't know. They were all along the front of this by the
What, like
sea.
actual spheres?
Yeah, like great big marbles, only as tall as you, if not bigger.
So they're obviously put there then.
Oh, well, they must have got washed up or.
Oh, right.
These are
Made-
natural occurrences?
Yeah, well, they were natural. Yeah,
Or maybe
but-
if a listener out there knows exactly what
These
those
mysterious balls.
Yeah, I
of
don't
rock
know.
are, then maybe you can mention it in the comments on our YouTube channel.
but eventually we had to go over to the South Island. We had a ferry and got over there.
Right, so on the South Island, so that was a ferry. How long did it take to cross from the north to the South Island? Is it a quick trip? Is it like going from Scotland to the Isle of Skye? Although you can drive there.
Well, I
these days.
think it was a bit longer than that, but I mean, you're looking out,
So off
looking
to
for
the Isle of
dolphin.
Wight, are you?
Yeah, no further than that.
Further than that. Off to Jersey and Guernsey.
Possibly.
Well, I don't know, it was I think 8 hours for us
Oh
to
no,
get.
I can't remember. I mean, you're so busy looking at the scenery and seeing
That's the
if you can
thing.
see any dolphins or anything. Time
Time
passes.
flies.
Did you see any dolphins?
Yes,
Hey!
Were they cool?
Did you see any whales?
I didn't see any whales except when went to Canada.
Oh, off to Canada, another place.
Yes.
Got to cover Canada.
And it was freezing cold, and I was on top of the boat.
Was this in Canada? Yeah.
In Canada, and I'd left my gloves in the hotel, and they were keeping in touch with the other boats, and then they called out. We had to go down into American waters, but there was a whole big school pod school, whatever, of
Was that's a
I
whale?
think that was a whale.
of the black and white ones, the killer whales. And
I don't know. You're trying to do whale noises.
I didn't take photographs because I was too busy looking at them.
Okay, we'll come back to Canada.
We'll come back
So
to Canada.
the dolphins, did you get in the sea with them?
No, we're on the ferry.
Oh, yeah, you're on the ferry. Okay.
We're going to the South Island, not jumping overboard in your clothes.
Oh, you might have
You might have
during
just,
the trip.
You know, they go, oh no, there goes June again.
No.
All those adventures.
Somebody throw a ring for her.
Like Indiana Jones.
We can't keep her away from the dolphins.
Get her back. That was thrilling anyway.
Aqua June.
Could you?
Anyway, we
Right.
went in the south.
So you headed down to the South Island.
Yes.
Okay. So
And we.
I'm taking Lord of the Rings was filmed on both islands.
Probably.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. So
it
we headed
was-
to the South Island.
Yeah.
So was this? If you're talking, you were there for 22 days, did you say?
Well.
So it was like halfway through your trip, or
Well,
did you spend more time?
I think we on the North Island we were longer, but
Okay.
we were travelling every day
Okay.
in your coach, looking at different places. But because my daughter-in-law Tina had an uncle.
Has got family that live on the South
in
Island.
fact, yes,
Aha, and that was Uncle Tom and
and
co.
his 3 daughters.
Right, so you've gone to the South Island and you actually got an opportunity to meet up with
Some
relatives.
family, yeah.
Family.
Yes, we did.
And so who did you meet up with?
Well, Uncle, I didn't go on the trip that day.
Right, so you actually-
Uncle Tom came looking for me with his 3 daughters, Peruani, Huriana, and Tiani, and he took me on a big tour of Christchurch. And the roads they're so steep. I was surprised that the cars could actually get up them. I've never seen such steep hills in all my life, to drive a car up and down.
Wow.
But we went round and see.
That must have been lovely to actually go all that way and then to find family.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So,
Never know. If we're lucky, they might be listening to this podcast.
well,
yes.
unfortunately, Uncle Tom has passed away, but I should imagine that his daughters are still there. And I believe he had a son, but we didn't see him.
And so you went for a tour around Christchurch, and
Yeah.
what else did you do for the day?
Well, I spent most of the day with them. I didn't go on the trips there, but we had a lovely fish and chip supper there.
Fish and chips.
Yeah, they
Good
were
old
delicious.
fish and chips.
Good old fish and chips, but they were super. And I say we had spent a lovely day with them, and I wouldn't have missed it for it was so wonderful.
What
to
a
actually-
fantastic opportunity. Yeah.
Yes.
And what did then at the end of the day drop you back at your hotel?
Yes, they had to go back to the hotel. We did see the Fox Glacier there, and what else did we? Went on several trips round and about looking at different things there.
Okay. So is this on when you were with Uncle Tom, or was this on
No,
other trips?
I only saw him for the one day
Right,
because
okay.
the trip is already organised.
Right.
You know in advance where you're
Well,
going.
I have looked at our analytics
Yep.
on one of our distribution sites, and we do have listeners in New Zealand
Yay,
Oh,
hello,
hooray.
our New Zealand listeners.
and possibly our relatives.
There you go.
Hello!
Hello, we
Maybe
send our
we'll-
love if it is
Yes,
you.
maybe we'll wing our way over to you one day.
That'd
Yeah.
be fantastic. I'd
It
love
would
to
be.
meet you.
Yeah, let's spend some time touring around. So we've had a wonderful day with Uncle Tom and family.
Yes.
And then what do we go on trip-wise after that? What's on the South Island?
Well, there's quite a lot actually, but most of it was looking at scenery. And I say we went
Did
to
you
the
say
Fox
you mentioned
Glacier,
something about? Yeah, I was going to say you mentioned something about a glacier.
which is over 2 million years old there.
Right.
Yeah.
What did that look? What was it like to see a glacier?
How big was it? I can imagine them being quite big.
Well,
I mean, did it have like a viewing platform or some kind of? Did you drive up and just look off?
well,
off a-
you could get out of the
viewing
coach
point?
and yes, and go and look at it. But I think that's altered a lot now because with climate change, a lot of these glaciers
I
are
know a lot have
melting.
retreated a lot. haven't they?
Yes, I mean I've seen quite a few
Well,
glaciers.
as long as they don't release Godzilla, we're
No.
all right.
We're okay.
No, I met him in Japan.
That is true. That
That
is
is
true.
and you brought him back.
Oh,
There are a lot of stories.
There's
Yes.
another
Lot of
story.
stories
to
there.
Yes,
there was another
I
j-
practically had to fight this
yeah,
other lady.
It
She-
was. It was.
I
like,
got hold of him first, and she wouldn't let
It
go,
was
but
like-
I won.
It was like an actual battle of the kaijus in a Japanese
We'll
movie.
consider that another teaser. Another teaser.
Another
Yes.
one of your
But
adventures.
I won.
Yeah,
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
And he
Did you blast your opponent with nuclear fire?
And I am ever so grateful for
No,
that.
no, he lives upstairs with Zach.
Yes, he does.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so right, we've seen the glacier. And then we've moved on off to other places around the South Island.
Yeah.
What have we got?
Well, I can't really remember too much more. I know we left. We had to go back to Christchurch because that's when we were going to fly back to England from there. And that would be, but I say, the scenery and everything was so wonderful that I'd love to go again, but I really can't afford it.
So after all that travelling, were you completely knackered by the time you got back to the plane?
By the time I got back to England,
Yep.
and your mummy and daddy said, we have to go somewhere. Can you look after Zach now?
Oh.
And I had to look after Zach for 2 or 3 hours after flying back from New Zealand.
Hopefully I wasn't too much trouble.
No, you were quite small, but yes, it was a little bit tiring, actually.
Well, there you are. You're a good old stalwart when it comes to
Yes.
challenges.
Yeah.
It's not many people that can fly to New Zealand, spend 22 days of fun and adventures, fly all the way
On
back
the road, in boats,
again, and then see
going in caves,
wrestling,
watching people
that's it,
dancing,
wrestling dolphins.
lot of events.
Yes.
Following the footsteps of Lord of the Rings and meeting orcs,
And then looking after great little grandchildren.
Ta-da!
We have,
That's me.
Yes.
Exactly.
We'll take you home, and can you look after Zach now?
Well, maybe Zach will end up following in your footsteps and
Yes.
Following your great journey.
heading off to New
Well, I
Zealand.
have taken several of my children on holidays, but usually they get a little bit tired or they don't want to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been away with you.
You've been away, but
We've had some adventures as well.
you don't like too many coaches. And
Yeah, the coaches don't do much for me.
I
Julia,
just fall asleep.
Julia didn't like flying on the plane very much, but that's another story.
A story for another
another
time.
For another time.
So overall, how do you rate New Zealand as a
Wonderful.
holiday destination?
Oh, if you can afford to go, please go.
So would you say that's if you only do it once in a lifetime, it's a bucket
Bucket list.
Yes.
trip to
It's
do?
worth it.
Yes, I think with Shelley, they hire a camper van. I think that would work out a lot cheaper because you fly there, pick up your camper van,
And just go.
and just go.
Do whatever you want.
Whereas if you've got this,
I think that would probably need. I mean, I'm a guy who likes camper vans, but I think I'd like to. Do they drive on the same side of the road as ours? Do you remember?
I don't think so. It doesn't really matter.
Maybe, but
Well, as long as you know.
the thing
laws.
is, I mean, I'd like to investigate first what the camping facilities, how easy it is. I mean, some countries, for example, if you're up in the Scandinavian countries, you can pretty much camp anywhere as long as you're discreet. But I'd like to know those sorts of things, or whether you have to stay on specific campsites. How much that would cost on top of your travel costs.
Well,
But it certainly would be a way of getting round.
It would be a lot cheaper thing, but if you're a single person like me and you don't drive.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't really help you, Mum, if you were going to go all the way over to New Zealand and hire a camper van and say, actually, just a small thing.
By the
I
way,
can't drive.
I can't actually drive.
No, but
Does it come with a driver?
it's all planned out, as you can see, and now you don't get there till day 3 because you go to Singapore.
So actually, part of your trip actually gets gobbled up on the actual journey in and out.
really, and that's part of the trip.
That's part of the trip.
It's a bit like going.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how people are, because I've spoken to people before which say fly to somewhere straightforward like the Mediterranean, and as far as they're concerned,
get to Spain in 2 hours.
Yes, as far as they're concerned, their holiday doesn't start until they're at the hotel.
Right.
For somebody like myself who doesn't fly very often at all, I actually still find going to the airport and going through all those sorts of, going to the airport, being in the departure
It's all
lounge,
part of his
all
excitement.
part of the trip, because I don't do that. It's all part of the trip. So my holiday starts the moment I'm at the airport and I've left the rest of everything behind.
Right.
But if you're going to be a person who thinks my holiday doesn't start until my feet touch the ground at the other end, then yes, you're going to probably lose a couple of days getting to New Zealand and back that you've paid for, that you wouldn't consider being part of your holiday.
Honestly, everyone's always having these awesome holidays. I feel like I'm missing out. I need to go on a holiday.
Well, you've been on a few, but most of yours were in your earlier years.
Yes.
True.
True.
I do remember going to Tunisia.
Yeah, been to North Africa, been to Bermuda.
That was a bit odd.
Been out to Finland with you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
she went to see Father Christmas, didn't
Yes,
you? But
yes,
that's
when I
another
was-
story.
Very little.
Yes.
Very little.
he gave you a lightsaber.
That is true.
Ah,
Yeah, he was a really nice chap, Father Christmas. Got to say
I'm
that.
sure
There
it
you
was.
go. Maybe in a future episode, we could actually go on holiday and record a Now We Know Show podcast.
Who
Yay!
knows? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we win the lottery, then we can all go off. We'll do it next week.
Is Jack coming?
Anybody? Yeah, we'll take the whole family. There you go. Right, excellent. Well, this is rounding up our trip to New Zealand.
Yes.
It was a fantastic trip. It was a great opportunity for you to meet family.
Yes.
Again, an opportunity
Oh,
for you
I
to
hope
give them a
if they're,
shout out.
I hope if you're listening, I send you all my love, and I hope you're all keeping well. And also, hello, Victoria and Brandon, if you're there, and Oliver. I'm back.
There we go. Ah, yes, because they listen to you
Yes.
from the UK, don't they?
They do.
So which means that leaves us one little item this week.
And that is.
What's the funny name of that
Word of the
word?
week. Word of the week.
Come on, we've got to do it. Let's see if we can do it. Word of the week.
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 Word of the week. Word of the week. Word of the week.
Word of the week.
There
Anyway.
you go. Anyway.
Okay, so the word of the week was humdurgeon.
Humdurgeon.
Theorise.
Dirty
Cross-reference.
Dirty bees.
Humdurgeon. Humdurgeon. A job that you don't want to do.
Okay.
It's like, I don't want to do this job. It's a bit of a humdurgeon.
Well, I suppose this could be a way of getting out of doing a job you don't want to do.
All right, okay. What about you,
Interesting. It's
June?
nothing to do with dirty bees, is it? Humming
humdurgeon.
in a dungeon.
Humdurgeon.
Bees in a dungeon.
Bees
No.
in a dungeon.
It's a humdungeon, that would be. Humdurgeon. Okay. So,
What is
Zach,
it?
what is humdurgeon?
Humdurgeon means an imaginary illness.
So
Oh.
if you've got an imaginary illness, you can get out of the job
Yes,
you
so-
don't want to do.
To be honest,
You're
I
a
think that's
hypochondriac.
the closest I've
as
come to-
guesses go, you've probably come the closest.
closest to
Yes,
So
yeah.
far,
so far. So humdurgeon is a
Imaginary illness.
Where did you find that word?
I've got to do research. I've got to
He's
do
got to do his
research.
research for Word of the Week
Find out a new one next week.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome.
I don't know where we're going next.
Oh, that's going to be
It
exciting.
will be a surprise.
Will it be Japan,
Will
Canada,
it be Canada,
Peru,
China?
Venezuela, Bolivia,
Scotland.
Bolivia. Oh,
Scotland.
I've covered
Isle of
Scotland.
Wight?
Yeah, we've been to the Isle of Wight.
is
Zach,
true, I-
Zach and I went to the Isle
Yes,
of Wight.
that is very true. Oh,
Yes,
that'd
we
be
did
interesting to
go.
explore. Yeah.
Yes,
Good old Black Gang China.
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
all Mummy would let him go.
Yes. Well, anyway, we'll come back to many, many adventures from around
Yes.
the world with
Indiana
Jones'
Jones,
World of Adventures.
Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe to this channel and comment below any suggestions of topics or activities you'd like to listen to in future episodes. You can find the Now We Know Show podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts. Check out the Zach Wylde Productions social media pages on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or visit the Zach Wylde Productions website at www.zachwyldeproductions.com. Please get in contact, we'd love to find out how you're listening to us. So get in touch in the comments and don't forget to check out Zach Wylde Productions on Patreon to become an official ZWP patron today. That's a big humdurgeon goodbye from Zach.
That's a big dwarven goodbye from Buzz.
And it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Do, 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 do,
Now we know show.
do, 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 do. Now we know show.
Indiana Jones World of Adventures.